Everything you desire is waiting for you to claim it. There's no creating involved, only invention through imagination and building through action. You are at the center of all your desires, dreams, and achievements. Welcome to Designing Your Life Today, the podcast that's all about your success, achieving your goals, building wealth through your business, and building your most passionate, powerful, magnificent life. Discover ways to use your purpose to connect you to serving others and living your dreams. I am Pat Council, and I know you are built by design to win. And it all begins with knowing how to tap into your success energy. Let's get on the path of discovery, decisive action, development, and unwavering dedication to your life's calling. It's time to embark on a transformative journey where your deepest passions become your most rewarding achievements. Embrace your power to shape your destiny, because this is your moment to do life with power. Hello, Power Up Nation. I'm Pat Council, and this is Thriving Thursday on Designing Your Life Today. And we're going to talk about how to use surveys to build your business. As you may know, on Thriving Thursdays, I shared different business tips, sales sometimes, marketing, and other important information that will help you pay more attention to your business and also build a more profitable business with a little less chaos and stress. So with that being said, let's get into this. We're going to talk about, once again, how to use surveys to build your business. Have you ever ordered something online and once you get the product or once the service has been rendered, you receive a survey either through your email or somewhere, okay? And when you get the survey, and mostly it's through emails now, but when you get that survey from that company, do you take the time to fill it out? Sometimes we probably do, sometimes we don't. It just depends. And I want to explain to you, first of all, how important it is for you to be in touch with your customers and clients. And secondly, how you can use the surveys to build your business, to build that super successful business with less stress, less chaos, because you have more clarity as to the direction you would like to take your business in, as well as what it takes to help that business become more profitable so that you can build strong. So with that being said, first of all, it is extremely important that you find ways to connect with your customers. And periodically, I will send out an email and that has a survey. And I don't do it often. It may be once a year. And I send that out. And based on the answers that I get back, that tells me, okay, how I'm doing when it comes to the podcast, how I'm doing when it comes to group coaching, when it comes to private coaching, when it comes to the courses that I offer, and some of the other things, the books that I've written. And, I check to see, okay, if you've read one of my books, how did you like it? Now, this survey is not all wrapped up into one survey because these are different categories. But taking the time to send a survey out, first of all, that tells your customers and clients that you care. Secondly, it shows them that you are working on constantly improving your business. Sometimes people aren't satisfied with what you have to offer. And so when they're not satisfied and they think, well, this is all this business is, and this is as far as it goes, that customer looks for another business, usually of the same type, because obviously they like what you had to offer and they just still want something similar. It just won't be through you. So when you send that survey out, you're letting them know, listen, we're constantly working on improving. And even on my podcast, periodically, I will mention, hey, we're updating some things. We're updating our website, which, by the way, we are doing that again. We're updating our website. I have new things that are coming out for you that's going to help you do X, Y, Z, whatever we feel will be more beneficial to you. So when you're putting out the survey, people know that you care. People know that you're interested in what they think. So once you get these surveys, once they're completed, how do you use the survey to build your business, to improve on your business, to increase your customer base? So first of all, a lot of times people will send a survey out and they send out a mass survey or a blanket survey. Now, sometimes if you're new in business, you may end up doing that, but I want to suggest that you first take the time to find your market, because number one is be sure you are surveying the right market. If you're not surveying the right market, or you're not targeting the customers that you're interested in, the clients that you're interested in, you're going to get answers that go across the board. Okay, some people will give you answers that make no sense to you, even though the answer makes sense to them, but it makes no sense to you because you're thinking, wow, I don't even offer that. Or this is not what we do, or this person doesn't understand what we do. Well, that's an indication that perhaps you are sending surveys to the wrong market. Okay, so you want to be sure, get clarity on your target market. And, this happens a lot where people often say, well, I don't know who my target market is, especially if they're new in business. And actually, even seasoned people have that challenge because as time goes on, things change. I mean, the business world pretty much had a kind of a shakeup, not in a bad way, but nevertheless a shakeup in terms of AI coming onto the scene. So when artificial intelligence stepped onto the scene, things changed and people were scrambling to either learn it or connect it with it and understand how to use it. And of course, then there's that portion that they're committed to not dealing with it because they're thinking it's not a good thing. It's not going to help me, or the way I've been doing it has always worked. And when they find that their businesses it's going down, the revenues are going down, the customers are going over to the business that appears to be running more efficiently, then perhaps they will consider some type of change. So back on track. With that being said, I guess the caveat in that is always be flexible, but be sure you are serving the right market, because that's extremely important to you, because when you get these answers, you're going to probably make some decisions based on these answers. Number 2, you want to pay attention to both positive and negative feedback. Now, positive feedback, it makes us feel good. It lets us know, hey, this person, they love what I'm doing. I'm on the right track. I'm making something really great happen here. And I'm offering something that people find to be beneficial or valuable. Now, and then on the other hand, you see the negative comments and you go, wow, they really hate what I'm doing. Or sometimes people get an attitude, the business owner, or even the manager who's reading these surveys, the feedback, and they think, well, this is just a negative person. This person must be having a bad day. Well, don't dismiss it, because a lot of times in a negative comment, you can find answers as to how to improve your business. I think people that have the courage to take the time to perhaps give what we may consider to be negative feedback, sometimes it can be helpful. Now, sometimes people give negative feedback and they're being rude with it, but you have to move your ego out of the way and go, okay, yeah, they're being rude, but is what they're saying in the comment section, is it true? Can I do something with that? Can this help my business grow? Look for where you can, let's say, grab onto something that's going to allow you to make some changes in your business. Okay, changes that people will find valuable. So the negative feedback can really help. Now, I have to give you a caveat there. Sometimes when you put a survey out, some people will complain just because they want the candy store. You didn't give them everything that they expected. And sometimes they're asking for things that your business does not even offer. And so know the difference. All right. So don't just take all the negative comments and just put them in a pile and dismiss them. You kind of have to separate them from the people that are being reasonable, so-called, with their negative comments versus a person who is being completely unreasonable. Like, I'll give you an example. When I started my podcast years ago, in the latter part of 2007, the podcast was, it was basically me interviewing different successful people, different people who could offer some insights that would help other people become more successful, help other people design their life with clarity, help people get what they need or discover how to get what they needed. And that's what the podcast was about. And for the most part, it's still the same way today, because that is the type of delivery that I've chosen as it relates to my podcast. Well, years ago, when I actually put out a survey and I asked for opinions, how can we improve? How can we make it better? There were mostly positive comments, but we had a few negative comments. So I took a look at the negative comments, and as human beings, it's kind of human nature, unfortunately, that we migrate toward the negative, as opposed to saying, wow, I have this big stack of positive comments, and then I have, the small stack of negative comments. And so we look at the negative because we think that everyone should like us, or everyone should like our product or service or what we're doing. But within that negative, that stack of negative comments, and when I say a stack, it was probably 5. And right about that time, we had about 250,000 downloads during that time. And so it was about 5 negative comments. Versus about, I believe it was so many, it was about 10,000 plus positive comments. So I said, okay, we're on the right track. But I paid attention to those negative comments. Now, there was one comment in there, and I'm using this to illustrate how you want to pay attention to your negative and positive feedback. There was one comment where the individual said, well, when you have guests on your show, you should open up the show so that your listeners can ask questions live, and instead of you asking the guests that question. So first of all, my show was not that kind of platform. It was not that type of podcast. Okay. So it was, and still is more of a teaching podcast, sharing information podcast that would inspire people, and really reaching out to see what they needed and bringing those guests on and having them share their information from their area of, I would say, extreme knowledge. I always hesitate to use the word expertise, but it is what it is. And so extreme knowledge probably is an expert. So, yeah. Let's move on. But the point I'm making is that one person, that particular information, and it said the show would be a lot more fun to listen to. So that was one comment. Now, I thought about it. I didn't just dismiss it. I thought about it, and I said, well, do I want to change how my show is structured? Do I want to change the whole layout of the show? And I really didn't want to do that. And it's not so much about me, but I felt like I could interview more guests and get to the point a lot quicker and get a lot more powerful information out there. And once again, that was not how the show was designed. It was not designed for for live or for listeners to actually come onto the show and give their input. And so that particular one, while I valued that comment, I had to dismiss that comment because that wasn't the type of show, and it still isn't the type of show that Designing Your Life Today is. It may change in the future. I don't know. But as of today, this seems to be working. The platforms we use, we get very good feedback in terms of reviews. We get quite a few downloads, listeners. And so obviously that tells us that people are finding value in what we have to share. So the point that I'm making is, even though I got that comment, I paid attention to all of the comments. Okay, it took me a few minutes because we got quite a few. I read every single positive comment as well, because you can look at a positive comment, and while it's nice that people, say, "Oh, you're great," or "I love listening to you," "Oh, you're so upbeat and energetic," and these kinds of things. It's great to hear people say that. You still read all of the positive comments, not just so it can make you feel good, but so you can see what's working. Okay. And I took really good notes. And I said, okay, I made a list. This is what people like. This is what they think, they say is working for them. And so you look at all of that. And I took notes from the few negative comments that, we received as well. And when I wrote those comments, then I was able to look at it and decide if I wanted to make some changes to Designing Your Life Today. If you've been listening to Designing Your Life Today, let's say beyond 5 years, then you know that periodically I will introduce a new segment. And like every other Thursday, I share ways that you can earn an income at home. Okay, so that's something that's new, because we kind of like to change with the times and help people get what they need. With AI on the scene, even though artificial intelligence, it's very beneficial. It's been very helpful to a lot of business owners and a lot of people in life in general. However, a lot of people are being let go from their jobs because they either refuse to learn AI, or they may not have refused, but someone decided that, hey, you're not a good fit anymore. And so what happens is they end up going home. And when they're home, they're trying to figure out what's next. So I thought, you know what, let's share what other people are doing and how they're making their money and how they're doing it from home. And perhaps people can get some insights from that. And the truth of the matter is, since we started that segment where we do it every other Thursday, unless we have something special that I'm going to talk about, but for the most part, we do it every other Thursday. Since we started that segment, that's one of our most listened to segments on Designing Your Life Today. And this came from not necessarily survey about our podcast, but another survey that I put out where I was asking people, what do you need to feel as though you are thriving? Or what do you need to thrive? Or what would help you do better in life and in business? And so I got some very good answers as a result of that. So with that being said, that's number 2. So pay attention to both positive and negative feedback. Here's number 3. And I kind of touched on it without saying it, but number 3 is spend time brainstorming ways to provide a better service or better services, or better products. So once you get all of this information, this isn't about allowing the customers to build your company, to run your company. Every company has its own personality. Okay. So you have to look at the personality of your company, meaning, why did you start this company? What is the purpose for this company? Where is the value? What types of values are you trying to convey? And values in terms of, are you going to help people increase their income? Are you going to help people learn more about fitness? Are you going to help people learn how to have better relationships? You're going to help people build wealth and understand the true concept of wealth. You're going to talk about spirituality, different things. So don't lose the personality of your company unless you feel you need to change. You felt like, okay, you know what? There's something that was missing, and now I have the missing link. So you're going to make the change. Listen, it is your company, but at the same time, you do need customers and clients, depending on what type of business that you have. But as a result of knowing that, you still want to do some brainstorming, because there's a part of you that can see what's missing, and you can decide what is actually needed that will help. A good example of that is Steve Jobs. And when Steve Jobs was alive, I mean, he said something that was so profound. And one of the things he said is that people don't know what they want until you show it to them. Now, this isn't about shoving something down a person's throat, because as we know, Mac computers, people, I mean, they're sold, I guess, in the millions and then some. And of course, the iPhone, people love the iPhone. And so with that being said, he was able to spend some time thinking, okay, and probably brainstorming with himself and maybe ultimately with his inner circle. I don't know. But he spent time brainstorming ways to provide a better product and better services to help people get to where it is they needed to be as it relates to technology. So when you look at those surveys, think about what is it they really need that they don't know how to either verbalize it, or they're not even sure they know what it is they want. Because now you become cutting edge. You become the person who provides what's actually needed to help people get to where it is they truly need to be. Well, these are 3 ways that you can use your survey to build your business better, make it more profitable and less stressful. Now, the things that I have shared with you, number 1 was be sure you are surveying the right market. Number 2, pay attention to both positive and negative feedback. And number 3, spend time brainstorming ways to provide a better service or product. All 3 of these, if you look at these and you implement them into your business, you're going to see some changes. It's going to make things a lot easier for you, and it's going to make your customers love you a lot more. Your clients are going to want to send you more clients, and you're just going to thrive in your business. Listen, you guys, I think that's all I have for you today on Designing Your Life Today. Be sure to get on my email list. This is the end of All Out April, and I hope you went all out to give your best. And so we're going into May, and May is going to be all about that momentum and so much more. So you'll find out more about it when we cross over into the month of May. In the meantime, be sure that you are on my email list, because we have some really great workshops that are coming up in May as well as June, because we're leading into the summer months, and that means our Summer Success Series is right around the corner as well. So we are really bringing you some great information. And if you missed yesterday's podcast, be sure to listen to it. I gave kind of a sneak preview of some of the information that was shared through to those on my email list. One included a grant that's available, and there was other information that I also included. So get on the email list. You can check it out in the show notes. Click on the links. It will take you to the right place, or give you the right instructions, and you can sign up. Or you can go to designingyourlifetoday.com, and when that little box pops up, you can subscribe, put your information in there and subscribe. And your second option is take your cell phone and type the word join, JOIN, and add your email address, and then text it to 904-787-6055. Okay, you guys, that is all I have for you. Get those surveys going and use them to build a better business, a stronger business, a more profitable business. In the meantime, I want you guys to do life with power, knowing that you are built by design to win.